Good day, everyone. Welcome on this video on reading and writing. How are you doing? I hope you're doing good at this enhanced quarantine period. Alright, so today and for the rest of the quarantine period, I'll be using Zoom as one of my platforms for conducting online classes. I know some of you do not have a Wi-Fi connection at home, so I decided to record myself right now. And I will upload this video on my YouTube channel. Don't have to subscribe or even like my videos because these are completely free and available anytime. Alright, so I'm going to share my screen to you so that you can follow my discussion. Alright, let's get started. So, to make a logical and sound argument, one must consider a lot of aspects, and one of these aspects is avoiding logical fallacies. So some of you might ask, Mom, we don't have any philosophy subjects this semester, or we are in philosophy major, so why we need to study these logical fallacies? Well, if you take a look on your textbook on reading and writing, it is actually included on our first lesson on pages 9 to 10 of your textbook. I intentionally did not discuss this because it was not included on your written exam. However, I might include this on your final exam because this topic is very timely and very significant with our current situation nowadays. Alright? So, our topic is all about common logical fallacies. So, let us first define what is a fallacy. Alright? A fallacy is an error of reasoning that will weaken an argument and, in most cases, undermine or destabilize or demoralize your argument completely. So, in other words, these are faulty reasonings that can invalidate your argument. So, we have two types or two classifications of fallacy. We have informal and formal fallacies. Formal fallacies are also called as logical fallacies. So let's proceed. So here are some common logical fallacies that we may see in some social media platforms like Facebook, Twitter, and so on and so forth. The first one is the circular argument. So this is also known as circular reasoning. This fallacy happens when the argument is restated rather than proven. So in other words, um, instead of explaining whether the argument is true or not, just falls back to the original argument. For example, opium is sleep-inducing because it has a sleep-inducing quality. Based on that example, it does not show why opium is sleep-inducing. It just restated that opium is sleep-inducing because it has a sleep-inducing quality. So this argument, fallacy, follows the formula of A is true because B is true and B is true because A is true. Alright? So another example is, oh, by the way, if you don't mind, I have my notes with you because a while ago I searched for some examples from the web. Alright? So another example for circular reasoning is, I deserve to have a later curfew, so you should let me stay out until 10 p.m. So this argument says that the person should stay until 10 p.m. because he or she deserves a later curfew. So this does not make any sense at all. The next fallacy that we have is hasty generalization. All right. This fallacy is also called as overgeneralization. So this happens when someone makes a sweeping statement without considering all of the facts. For example, if a man walked on a town for the first time and saw 10 children, he might be concluded that all of the residents of the town are children, right? So this fallacy fails to explore all possible data surrounding the argument. The person is attempting to conclude with only limited knowledge. So most of the time, people are jumping into conclusions without further searching for some data or thinking critically about the argument. All right. So next fallacy is the slippery slope. So this is a conclusion based on the premise that one small step will lead to a chain of events resulting in some significant event. Right. So in other words, if we allow event A to happen, then an unwanted event Z will happen, which means event A should not happen. For example, if you do not study on Saturdays, your grades will suffer. If your grades are suffer, you won't graduate with honors. If you won't graduate with honors, you won't get a job. If you don't have a job, you will be living on streets. So this argument implies that if you don't study on Saturdays, you will be homeless, right? So the problem here is that the main issue is being covered by extreme hypotheticals with no real proofs or evidences, right? So next fallacy is straw man. So this fallacy happens where someone distorts an opponent's claim so that it is easier to refute or rebut. For example, person A says that evolution states that humans developed over a long time from the same common ancestor as the gorilla, while person B says, everyone listen to person A. He's saying that we descended from baboons. All right. So based on this situation, person A is just trying to explain the theory of evolution by explaining that humans developed over a long time from the same common ancestor as the gorilla. But this person B is trying to change or trying to distort the claim of his opponent by stating that we descended from baboons, which is not um, the original statement of his opponent. So that is strawman. All right. So another fallacy is ad hominem. So this fallacy happens when one person attacks on other person's character or personal attributes in order to discredit their argument. All right. So I believe this is the most common logical fallacy or most used fallacy of all times, ad hominem. So we have example here. Jenny is just a stupid blonde in unemployment. Why would you ever consider a strategy for getting a job? In this situation, the girl do not dwell directly on the argument, which is about the strategy in getting the job. Instead, she attacked Jenny personally by saying that she is a stupid blonde in unemployment. Alright, so another example is don't listen to Eddie's argument on education. He did not even finish his high school. Alright? So a person is attacking Eddie's um Eddie's capability by means of his educational degree. Alright? So that is ad hominem. So let's proceed with false dichotomy. So it is also known as false dilemma or either or fallacy. So this fallacy happens when an argument presents 2 points while disregarding or ignoring others in order to narrow the argument in one person's favor. Example, you're either for us or against us. And I thought you were a good person, but you did not donate to charity last year. Alright? So this fallacy attempts to drive an argument into a direction where only one specific answer can be given in order to incriminate the opposing party. Alright? So another example, if you don't vote for this candidate, you must be a communist. So this is somehow a bias, alright, and or unfair on the side of the other person. Alright, so let's proceed with appeal to emotion. So this fallacy is also known as appeal to pity. This happens when a writer or speaker uses emotion-based language to try to persuade the reader or listener of a certain belief or opinion. For example, I deserve a second chance to submit my assignment. This week was so busy for me. Every night we had a practice and I had an intensive homework. My girlfriend just broke with up recently. So the person who is speaking is obviously a student who is trying to please his or her teacher, right? So in this situation, he or she is trying to ask permission from his or her teacher to submit his or her assignment. So he just stated that he was so busy because of his schedule, and right. So we Filipinos do have um, this kind of value called pakisama or human compassion. Okay, so sometimes persons or people tend to overuse it or abuse this. All right. So another example is when a student is giving his or her assist letters to his or her teacher. All right. So he or she explaining that he or she has a problem, financial problems, family problems, so that his or her teacher must consider his or her reason and allowed him or her to pass the assignment. All right. So next is equivocation. This is also known as doublespeak fallacy. This fallacy happens when an argument is presented in an ambiguous, double-sided way, making the argument misleading. For example, hot dogs are better than nothing. Nothing is better than sandwiches. Therefore, hot dogs are better than sandwiches. So the word nothing here in this case is used to refer to both not anything and all things. Alright, so class, I want you to note that it is very important to precisely define your words and to be consistent on their usage, right? So that to avoid ambiguous and double-sided meaning of the argument. So let's proceed with the next fallacy, which is ad populum. This is also known as bandwagon appeal. So this is an appeal that presents the thoughts of a group of people in order to persuade someone to think that way. For example, 9 out of 10 doctors agree that medicine X is the best. So then, medicine X must be the best. So this policy explains that um, that just because a lot of people is believing on that certain opinion, then that opinion must be or likely becomes um, becomes true. All right. So this fallacy are not strong arguments because they do not have sufficient evidences or strong basis. All right. So another example is majority of people believe that advertisers should spend most of their money on billboards. So billboards are objectively the best form of advertisements. Okay, so next, let's proceed with the next fallacy, which is false analogy. This is also known as weak analogy. So this fallacy happens when two things are unalike are being compared based on the trivial similarity in order to prove a point. For example, people are like dogs. They respond best to discipline. So this argument or this fallacy is an absurd fallacy because it attempts to correlate people to dogs. So last fallacy that we will discuss is the appeal to authority. This fallacy happens when a statement is considered true because it's made by someone who is considered an authority on the topic. For example, my doctor says taking ginkgo biloba will make my memory sharper. You should know he's a doctor. Based on that example, a person is um, believing on the statement of his doctor because he believes that he knows everything, especially on that field. All right. So another example, my teacher says that I should sleep early because that will make my performance better. That will allow me to focus more on our discussions. So that person believes on his teacher because he knows that he is the most authoritative person to discuss or to tell that. All right. So that's it. So again, let's have a recap of this logical fallacies. We have circular reasoning, we have hasty generalization, we have slippery slope, we have straw man, we also have um all this. All right, so that's the end of our discussion. If you have questions, you may personally message me on Facebook or comment below your questions. All right. So here are some related links that you can watch at your own time. So these are related with our topic, which is about logical tasks. All right, so that's the end of our discussion. Thank you and goodbye.